Sanjiv Bhasin as well to get a sense as to what's happening in the market and where are we headed. Mr. Bhasin, hi, thank you so much for making time and speaking with us. Let's begin by discussing TCS itself. The entire IT space is in a bit of a tumble. This entire buyback news and the record date is finally out in terms of November 25th. What would be your recommendation to retail investors? Do you think they should participate in the buyback given it's at 20% premium to current market price?
Yeah, good morning, Anisha. So this is the fifth buyback by TCS, I think in the last 3 years, if I'm correct, or four. And each time you've given it and not bought it back, you've lost out on the opportunity of, another for 50% upside. It started from 2,300 or 2,500 and it's gone to 4,500, which tells you that the company is extremely confident on the slightly longer term. So I would definitely recommend take use of this arbitrage, but don't let go of this blue chip. Because if we can see the underlying sea change, it is telling us that bond yields and inflation maybe past their peak, and if spending comes back, which is very much on the card, then IT will be again in a sweet spot. Plus, it's a good alibi to a weak rupee, and TCS is the greatest wealth creator of all time. So I still think participate in the buyback, but please buy back your shares, because you don't know when the next buyback comes, and if for small petty gains you lose out on a big blue chip. So stay invested and take use of this arbitrage.
Talking about blue chips, Mr. Bhasin, what should one do with Bajaj Finance? This news has come in as a bit of a shocker. But of course, the company has been delivering stellar returns both in terms of stock prices as well as earnings performance. This is a knee-jerk reaction we'll see today, and one should buy into it.
Surely, Anisha, if you see the underlying, if whatever I made out of the numbers, I think it's just 2% or 3% of the entire EMI loans or the cards which they have. Now, we'll get more clarity from the management over a period of time. But if I'm correct, then, they will be, it's how fast this KFC, recommendations can be implemented. That may take maybe 1 quarter, but I would definitely think that will be very fastly adhered to by the company. See, the company has stood for two things. One is growth and being innovative, and second is quality of management, which is unprecedented. So this was really a shot in the blue, but I think a large part of that will have been addressed by the management. And given that this is an opportunity to get into the largest NBFC, I would definitely use this decline to add on to this stock.
Okay, that's the take coming in on Bajaj Finance. Use the declines to buy into the names. Also, let's address some of the buzzers from yesterday. MCX, of course, has been charting new territory almost on a daily basis. Yesterday was no different. Another 7% of a bump up coming in on this stock. There was Coforge, Oberoi Realty, Emphasis, Manappuram. They all held out quite smartly. Sanjiv, anything from Midcap IT? Some of these niche names. A brokerage is calling KPIT one amongst the best within the Midcap IT arena. Clearly, large caps are not performing, but anything within the Midcap end that you like?
So, Aisha, I have liked Persistence from 3,700 level. It's at 66 all-time new highs. I still think that company is a, must-have in your portfolio. It's been included in the MSCI indexes. Coforge is another stock which has no promoter holding, and that could be a dark horse. But we want to remain with three names: Persistent, HCL Tech, and Tech Mahindra. HCL Tech and Tech Mahindra on the large caps are giving you enough comfort on the valuation and the road forward. And I think these two stocks can be a far better player than any other name. In this whole IT underperformance, actually mid-caps have been far more better performers if you just took the case of Persistent. So I think Coforge is one name which we would go with. But like I said, there is a plethora of other stocks or opportunities which you are getting. I mean, the recent case is Bajaj Finance. One observation which has 3% impact on the overall revenues is going to cause some chaos, and that's the opportunity you must look to buy.
Entire microfinance space, because that has been reporting very strong numbers. There's this entire wave of new tech-based apps that we have seen, and these micro lenders are also tapping into the digital, data to kind of parse through their clients as well. Which names come to mind from the microfinancing arena?
So, like you said, AU Small Finance deserves a relook. It was trading below 700. I gave that as one of my Diwali picks at 670, 680. I think they are progressing very well on their digital apps. Then look at AV Capital. That's another NBFC which has progressed very, very smartly. And some of parts, it's got all the holding companies, and its digital app, which they've recently launched, is doing extremely well. If Anisha, you looked all around you after Bajaj Finance, you will find that AB Capital is making very much inroads into the small loan category and the MSME space. So that is one stock I would keep an eye out on. As a disclosure, this is another stock which we have in our portfolio from 120, and we think that this is a very, very big wealth creator over a period of time. Some of parts of some of its holding companies and the new age business which they are into.
In fact, one of the brokerages is also highlighting that it's the auto ER&D space that they like within the tech universe. And clearly some of their preferred picks are Tata Elxsi, L&T Technologies, KPIT as well. They're saying that there has been a significant interest in auto tech, and these companies which actually service to the auto industries are the ones which they're currently liking. There's another interesting note coming in on IIFL as well, or rather from the house of IIFL, talking about how disbursements are going to get impacted. There's going to be limited in the restrictions. They're saying it's applicable only to the digital EMI cards. This, of course, pertains to Bajaj Finance. IIFL is saying if persists for long may impact new customer addition, although most of the experts that we've been speaking with are clearly saying that any dip in Bajaj Finance should actually be bought into. CLSA says that, this is more of an operational breach rather than a major violation of RBI's guidelines, probing upon the point as to why did the RBI curb them for the next 60-day period, saying that they believe that for Bajaj, it should be resolved within 1 or 2 quarters itself. But Kunal, on the charts, I mean, this is, of course, going to be a news flow-based impact on the stock. Where could it fall to?
Well, yeah, I think, but after yesterday's correction, at a point when the markets were doing pretty well, the stock falling below that 7,200 to 20 odd mark, I think that was the close for Bajaj Finance yesterday. I would probably expect that there could be another at least 150, 200 points correction, at least over the very near term for the stock price. Now, the concern which is actually emerging on the charts for Bajaj Finance is the proximity the stock is towards its long-term moving average. The last time the stock had broken below this 200 DMA was in November, or I think November second half 2022, when the stock was at 6,600, 700 levels. From there, the stock had fallen almost 1,000 points further in the next 2-3 months of price correction for itself. So the bigger concern for Bajaj Finance is not just that the yesterday's correction was more than 2.5%, but the proximity towards the 200 moving average, and in case if the stock breaks below this average, could probably lead to a serious correction to the stock price. So I would be a bit on the cautious side and would wait out for at least the next couple of days. In case if there is any kind of a breach as well as a confirmation of this long-term moving average, I believe that the near-term prospects could be quite grim for the stock.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on Bajaj Finance, so watch out for all of that. In the meantime, Naresh, also wanted your take regarding a couple of these auto names. Of course, Tata Motors is going to be in focus because the last transaction that it did in October was close to around 410 rupees a piece on Tata Tech. Now the valuation of the IPO has come in at 475 to 500 rupees, so that itself is a big bump up. And yesterday we saw quite a bit of momentum on Eicher Motors as well, ended as one of the top gainers at the index level, over 4%.
Interesting. Tata Motors is setting up for a short-term breakout. It topped out around 675, 680 back in October. Then in November start, we made a top around closer to 665. Yesterday, we've closed around 670 odd levels. And back in July also, the stock topped out at around 665. So roughly 665 to 678 has been a resistance. The stock is coming close to that. A breakout above this actually gives an upside towards 750 in the short term. So looks promising at current levels, add on the way up above 680. Going into Eicher Motors, this is a stock which is, after doing a lot of flip-flops over the last 6 to 8 months, going back to 3,200, 3,500 multiple times. The stock has now come back to a new all-time high, very close to it, just 0.5% away. And the stock is on from a longer-term basis from 2017, where it topped out at 3,300, has not done much. So it looks like a breakout in play. It's just that the stock has moved up from 3,300 odd levels just a couple of weeks back to 38.40. The risk reward is not great. But a fade off towards 3700, 3750 should be a buying opportunity. And the last one in the pack is Hero MotoCorp, which looks promising if it can sustain about 3200.
Bunch of other stocks which are going to be in focus as well. We've been flagging off TCS as well as Bajaj Finance. There's Vedanta too, which has dispatched one of its first consignment of green aluminum. That's something that the news reports are indicating this morning. There's Dabur as well. The company has, dismissed its defendants in the federal cases that they had ongoing in the US. There's RateGain, of course, that, they're looking at a QIP as well. So that's another stock which is in focus. The floor price has been set at 676 thereabouts. So these are a bunch of stocks which are going to be in focus this morning. Besides, of course, TCS, Tata Motors, Bajaj Finance. There's also Star Health, wherein Novama has said that there could be additional price hikes which may actually come in for 10 to 12% of Star Health's portfolio. So that's something that they're marking out for as well. Sanjiv, anything within the insurance space that you like? I know, there are many hotter sectors in the market to bet on, but particularly this.
So, Aisha, you must see that there are three distribution channels. One is insurance, the other is AMC, the third is exchanges, and fourth is brokerages. And brokerage stocks have been through the roof. As a disclosure, we are also sitting on stock options in our company, and we think that that is the way forward, because these are conduits which are going to make money irrespective of where the markets are. Insurance is a no-brainer in the sense that private insurers are getting a very, very big chunk, and their APE is only rising over a period of time. So I think that three names, SBI Life, ICICI Pru, and HDFC Life, all these three in tandem could be very, very good wealth creators over a period of time. And I still think this distribution channel, particularly brokers, exchanges, insurance, and the AMCs, these are a very, very good long-term bet, given that the conversion of financial savings into equity and other products is very much a long-term process.
Mr. Bhasin, before we let you go, a word on the industrial space as well. Yesterday, we saw that knee-jerk reaction come in on the stock of Siemens on account of that entire demerger and listing prospect of one of its vertical, and the fact that the deal hasn't happened at a huge discount. It's 15% discount, which the street had made up its mind about already. What's your take within the capital goods space? Would you go for the likes of L&T, which also have a infrastructure theme to it, or ABB, Siemens, and manufacturing kind of names?
So we like two names. One is Cummins, the other is Bharat Forge, which you can, attribute to type of that. Third is Thermax. L&T is in our portfolio. We are not increasing weightage. We will try and participate in the buyback for whatever it is. But L&T is a core holding of our portfolio. These three names is something which we would bet on. Siemens, I would say, let this whole imbroglio of the energy part getting split and so on get, demerged, whatever, that play out, because that would put some cap on the upside, since there are people who want to exit. But Cummins, Guidance, Thermax, Bharat Forge, and L&T, these are four of the choicest names. You can add an ABB.
Always good to have you on the show. We let you go on that note. Have a good day. Let's